Hello guys, you're welcome back to my channel. This is Sim and Stitches again. Alright, on today's tutorial I'll be teaching you how to draft a corset top. So we are going to be using our previously drafted top pattern. We'll alter it to draft a corset top. Okay, so you go ahead and label your drafted pattern, and then you take your nipple to nipple measurement, which is also called the bust pan measurement. So whatever you have, you take it on the round measurements that you have on your paper. So you mark it all the way. Usually it is between 3.5 to 4 inches. Just make sure that whatever you have, you take your measuring tape, measure your nipple to nipple, and then you divide it by 2. Then you can add half inch to that division. So I divided 7 by 2, which gave me 3.5. I added half inch, which is 4 inches. So that is how I got my bust span. So next thing you do now is to connect the lines that you have marked together. Now this line you are marking is going to be the center of your dart line. So on the right and on the left side of this line, you are going to be marking out your bustier dart. So you mark it all the way through to the length of the top. All right, the next thing you want to do now is to mark that dart. Now what you do is whatever you have on the right side is what you replace on the left side. So you mark your 1 inch on the right and 1 inch on the left. So as you can see in the video, you take it all the way through the length measurement that you have marked, making sure that you have that straight line at the middle. So you can see that. So you join the lines that you have marked together. Now, if you notice, I started marking my dart from the under bust. So it is from the under bust that you start marking your dart line. You don't start on the bust line. You start at the under bust line. So after you have marked that 1 inch, you go on and join them together. The lines indicating the 1 inch for the dart, you connect it together. So you have it there. The two sides have the dart line now. So the next thing you want to do now is to mark out the corset, the cup of the corset. So now you use whatever you have from your high bust to your bust line. So you can see the high bust line over there. So whatever you have is what you're going to take as a circumference on that bust point. You see that mark where you have the bust point, you take it all the way round to give you a 360 points, a circle at that point. So I have 3.5, so I marked my 3.5 all the way round. Now if you notice, at the middle I left that half inch allowance. That's going to be the center of my corset, so you leave your half inch allowance as well. And then on the sides where the armhole is, you mark your 3.5. Then at the under bust line, you mark 3.5, and then you connect it like that. You see the way I have my semicircle, so you connect it like that. Now I'm going to be doing it at the upper part as well. So you go ahead and mark it at the top of your pattern as well. You mark 3.5 all the way round. By the time I'm done marking this, you're going to be having a full circle indicating your cup area. Okay guys, you are almost done with your cupped corset pattern. So the next thing you want to do now is to go ahead and take all your round measurements. So on my bust line, I took my round measurement. You remember that there is a space for the dart, so I'm going to be including 2 inches to my round measurements. For the under bust, I took round measurements plus my 2 inches, and then I went all through like that till I got to the hip area. So this corset is going to stop at my hip area. That's the length of the corset. So you go on and then you mark it all the way, not forgetting to add the extra 2 inches for the dart that you are removing at the center. You extend it to the sides. You extend it to the sides of your pattern, such that by the time you are done, you want to sew, it won't be too tight. It will fit well. So that is how it's going to be. All right. Then you connect this together to give you the silhouette of your shape for the pattern that you are drafting. It is very easy and simple to draft. Sincerely, it is very easy, and we are almost done drafting this. So the next thing you want to do now is to mark your armhole line. So as usual, you come down from your from your shoulder line by 1 inch, and then you mark your armhole. In my previous video, you can watch my video on a top pattern. I explained that for you to be sure that your armhole measurement is correct, it usually falls on your bust line. So your armhole length usually falls on your bust line. So then you go ahead and do that, and then you are going to connect the mark you have on your bust roundness, connect it to your arm hole. All right, then the next thing, you can go ahead and shape out the neck design that you want. So my client wants a deep V neck, so I'm just going to go ahead and shape it out. Trust me. So next thing you want to do now is to mark out your dart for your cup. So just to give it a firm shape at the cup area, you mark out the dart there. Now what you are doing is just contouring your cup area. So you can see that on the bust line at the left and the right side, you are going to be marking 1 inch, half inch on each line to give you 1 inch. Now it depends on what you want. I want my pattern to have just 3 sides, so that is why I'm doing this: 1, 2, and 3. So the next thing you go to do now is to draft your back pattern. So you're going to be using our basic back pattern as well. You're just going to give you the design that you want. Now this back is going to have a lace, so I'm going to be lacing the back, and it's going to drop, and it will also have a yoke. So just watch as I do this. I took all the round measurement, and then after that I connected them together to give me a silhouette for the back pattern. Now the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to mark out my yoke area. So from my bust line, from the middle, I came down by 1 inch, and then I connected that 1 inch to my armhole line. So you can see what I did there. You connect it with a straight line to join up with the armhole. Now this back is going to be having a yoke, and likewise is going to be having a lace. So I'm going to be lacing the back. Now to achieve that lace, so from the hip line, which is the base of my back piece, I marked at the center, I marked 2 inches. So from the center of the hip line, I marked 2 inches. Now I'm going to be connecting that 2 inches to the dart line of the bust line. You can see the dart line that I connected. So this is just going to give me the V shape at the back, such that by the time I'm done lacing the back, it's going to give me a beautiful V shape. So that is what I did there. So the upper part is going to be the yoke, while the part where I just marked now, where I'm going to be having my lace, I'm going to be cutting it out. So I'll be removing it, and I'll be replacing it with a wider fabric. So my clients want the option of a coverage, so I'm going to be replacing it with a wider fabric. So that's just how to do it. It is very easy and simple. So with that, you are done with your pattern drafting. You can go ahead and cut out your pieces. Now you have the front piece and the back piece. It is very easy to do. So for you to be able to understand this while you are cutting it out and joining, it is very good that you label each piece to avoid confusion. All right, so you can also go ahead and cut out your front pattern. So right here, I'm just explaining that if you are going to be making it a basque, a basque, if you're going to be making a basque corset, you can just connect it from 1 inch below your natural curve, and then you connect it to the hip line. All right, I'm making a basque corset as well, but I'm going to be using a different method to achieve my basque. Okay, thank you very much for staying tuned to my channel. I appreciate you viewing this. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed. And I also want you to share this video, like, leave a comment, ask questions. If there's anything that you don't understand in this video, I'll be glad to answer you. All right, guys, see you guys in the next video.